Levinson and Associates. With us today, we have Joseph Loughran, our Marketing Vice President, and our special guest speaker, an IUL specialist, John Lovejoy. So me and Joe are going to speak for about a little less than 10 minutes here, and then we're going to introduce our guest speaker and our feature presentation today, which is all about IUL with living benefits and some great sales ideas built around that topic. So this is the fourth training webinar that is part of our IUL Challenge for June. And if you recall, I don't know if you were on our previous webinars or not, but what we did is we put together a series of different IUL trainings and then, of course, our complimentary new IUL sales software program. And our promise to you was if you never sold an IUL policy before, after you listen to our different training series and use our IUL sales software, you will sell at least one Indexed Universal Life product by the end of this month, okay? If you're an IUL expert, even better. Listen to these trainings, use our IUL software that is complimentary, and you will literally double your sales. And when you see our complimentary calculator and software that we've built with a third-party vendor, you will agree with us. I promise you. It's awesome stuff. So what we're going to do, if you haven't seen our IUL software program yet, that's fine. We do have another training coming up next week, and then we're going to do this twice a month for the next 6 months. So you'll have plenty of time to get a glimpse of the software program. We also have recorded versions. So you can spend 30 minutes whenever it's convenient for you and literally log on your computer and watch our recorded webinar on the software program. So there's no excuse. Take advantage now. We launched this about 3 weeks ago, and we are officially up and running, and most of our agents that are using it now are loving it and writing lots of business, so it's working. So long story short, today's presentation is about one of our top indexed UL products with Life of the Southwest, or National Life Group. And they have, in my opinion, one of the best products because it also has built-in living benefit features as well. So it's really it's a one-stop shop life insurance that pays while you're still alive. And in this case, you'll even have a nice retirement cash value account built in as well. So if you can learn how to load up the IUL calculator, get your arms around these products that you're going to learn today, you will ultimately double your income for 2016. And then, of course, even further for next year. So now is the time. John is our IUL specialist from Life of the Southwest, and he talks about some great sales ideas and concepts that I was blown away by. And I've been in the business now going on 20 years, my father at 40-plus years. So we were both blown away by John's ideas. He came here live in our office, and we said, you have to jump on a webinar and show this to our agents. So take out a pen and paper, jot down some notes. We'll send out an email to everybody after the call, and we'll have all of this information in the email. Of course, we'll include licensing and everything else that you need to get started. Joe's going to talk about our upcoming agent training events, which is what you're on right now, and he'll also highlight the sales software IUL program overview. So keep your eyes peeled, take out a pen and paper, and enjoy our presentation. Joe?
Yeah, thanks, Bill. So I just want to touch base on a couple upcoming training sessions, keeping with our IUL incentives for the month of June. Our next webinar is on Wednesday the 22nd at 2 p.m. Eastern. We're actually going to be diving into that Indexed Universal Life sales software, showing you how to use that tool to actually win more sales. Again, that's at 2 p.m. Eastern. On Thursday, which is the 23rd, the following day at 2 p.m., we're going to have a webinar diving into the exclusive mortgage lead program. You're going to hear from the lead program creator, as well as one of our agents that's been using this program for about 3+ years, just to learn some tips, some insight, some ideas to how to use that program to really get the best results that you can. And then finally, at the end of the month here on the 30th at 2 p.m., which is a Thursday, we have a special guest speaker, Joe Ross, talking about the fundamentals of IUL and some great sales concepts that work. That's going to be a great webinar to attend. Like Bill mentioned, we do record all of our webinars and post them to that YouTube channel, so everyone on today's call will receive that recording. You can also go right to YouTube, type in Levinson and Associates, and see about over 120 different videos, anything on how to navigate the website to specifically diving into some of these products and tools that we're going to be covering today.
Okay, thanks, Joe. And as you know, we constantly are out there trying to innovate and grab the best products, carriers, technology. In this case, our exclusive E&O policy that we put together with AIG that's exclusive only to Levinson agents. So use this stuff to build your hierarchy. If you know any agents in the business, everybody needs E&O, and everybody wants to save money, as we know. So here's a great chance. $395 for $1 million policy covers B-plus rated carriers or better, which is a first from what we've seen. So take advantage of this stuff. And you literally go on our website. It's a one-page online app. Print your certificate. You are done. So the E&O policy, the IUL sales software, some of these great sales ideas that John is going to talk about, use this stuff and leverage our platform, obviously, to change your own business. And then if you know any agents, a great time to build your hierarchy, make 10, 20% override, and basically just make an introduction. They get locked into your hierarchy. You can go into Broker Gear on our website, look at all of your business, all of your downline's business. This way you're not in the dark. You know exactly what bonus and what your downline agents are writing. So everything is updated in real-time fashion. So get comfortable with the iGenius platform and start to utilize this stuff. And 99% of it is free anyway. So now is the time. Okay, moving forward here, almost 2 years ago now, we came out with the first and only term life insurance product to be sold 100% client-driven. Okay, what that means is this product you get appointed with, get a custom link, put it on your website, put it on your Facebook, email blast it out. The whole point is you want to drive traffic to your link. As soon as your prospect clicks on your link, they can run a quote. If they like what they see, they sign up online. There's only 3 health questions. They get approved. The policy gets mailed directly to the client within 24 to 48 hours, and it comes with a free scholarship. Rates are very competitive. Like I said, it's been almost 2 years now, came out with the first Lightning term product to ever be sold on this type of platform. And now we have part 2 coming out. It's the same product, okay, but we raise the face amount to $150,000, and the death benefit is level and guaranteed. So great stuff here. The product is being filed with 47 states as we speak, so you will likely be up and running by the end of this month. But you can get appointed now, start selling our regular mortgage term product, and then as soon as the level product gets approved in your state, your link will be updated automatically. So now is the time. Lightning level term. We're very, very excited about this. Okay, once again, Levinson ahead of our competition with the latest and greatest technology. The new e-requirement tool is now up and running. The way this works, long story short, years ago, if you sent an application in and your client was, let's say, a scuba diver, and you did not attach the hazardous activity form, okay, now what happens is the underwriter says, hey, I need the hazardous activity form filled out. Years ago, you'd have to print the form, mail it to the client or fax it to the client, wait for them to fill it out. Then they have to send it back. Hopefully they get it, and they do send it back. Then we get it. We have to turn it over to the carrier. So by the time everyone is done, this can take weeks, okay, which will delay issuing a policy, delays commissions. Now, with e-requirement, you literally go on our website. It's all single sign-in. You decide which case that this applies to. Okay, let's say the Bill Levinson case. You click on hazardous activity form with, say, Prudential, for example. Okay, you fill it out with your client on the phone, hit submit. We get copied on it. The home office gets the form all in real-time fashion. This could happen in 30 seconds or a minute. It all depends on how long you and your client take to fill out the form. So this is e-requirement. It's $4 for every single form that you download. Okay, with us, this is free even if you do 1,000 of these daily. It's 100% free by working with Levinson. Once again, these are ways to change your business and be ahead of the times, and most important, your competition, because you're getting things done faster with our e-requirement, with our e-applications, our electronic policy delivery. Everything is light speed now. So take advantage. Call one of our marketers if you're interested in hearing more about this awesome new piece of technology. Okay, like I said earlier, June is our IUL Challenge month here at Levinson. We have 2 webinars left. Jot this down, that awesome IUL calculator and sales software program. We're going to do a repeat on the 22nd, 2 p.m. Eastern. One of the creators of the program is going to be on the call with our agents. We're going to go over the whole platform from A to Z. So jot that down, 6/22. Then on the 30th is our final training for IUL Challenge Month, and that is with AIG. We're going to go over fundamentals of IUL 101 and give you some awesome IUL sales ideas. So it all kind of fits in to this IUL Challenge Month at Levinson. That last webinar there, just take note, you do not want to miss that call. Okay, Joe Ross is our featured speaker. He is one of the best in the industry. I promise you, I'll stand behind that promise. He is, I'm not joking, as good as me, Joe, and John Lovejoy. So awesome speaker, awesome presenter. You will definitely get some takeaways on that call. That's June 30th, 2 p.m. Eastern. Joe's going to give you a quick 100-foot overview of the IUL software program, and then we're going to introduce John.
Thanks, Bill. Yep, so I wanted to just highlight real quick, we did mention the webinar on the 22nd at 2 p.m. where we're going to be diving into this platform here, but I just wanted to give everybody a sneak peek. This is available now. This tool normally costs about close to $500, but it's free for all Levinson agents. Basically allows you to compare Index Universal Life to any sort of qualified plan, 401k, 403b, I mean anything you can put in here as far as an investment comparison tool. It'll actually show you the taxes paid, the fees, what type of income you're looking at, and then it will compare the Index Universal Life product to that other investment plan, really helping you win more sales. One other great thing that comes with this program, not only do you get trained and get the support, but you also get included in this program consumer videos that are available on demand, so you can actually explain market risk, simplify Index Universal Life. If you've ever tried to sell from an Index Universal Life illustration, you'll agree with me, it's very complicated. A lot of those illustrations are not very easy to read, especially if you're a client who's just being introduced to that Index Universal Life plan. So the whole point of the software is to simplify the whole sales process, give your clients some added knowledge and incentive to actually use that Index Universal Life plan. And like Bill said, during that IUL month, which is this month, at Levinson and Associates, if you do the training and you use that software program, we're actually putting that cash incentive, that iWatch incentive behind this contest because we know it's going to produce results. So that's definitely something to take a look at. Again, you will receive that webinar invite this afternoon with the other materials that you'll receive with today's thank you email.
Okay, thank you, Joe. So without further ado, we're going to dive into our feature presentation here. Now, I'll just mention quickly, John Lovejoy is our presenter, and he's going to go over Life of the Southwest. And I'll just add, they're one of our top indexed UL carriers, okay? And this is a fact that Life of the Southwest and National Life Group, being the parent company, was the #1 company for indexed universal life premium over the last few years, and that's a fact. So definitely very important to get your arms wrapped around what John has to say. John Lovejoy, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate the time offered today, and welcome to National Life Group. It's a pleasure to be here today, and hopefully we'll shed some ideas today that will give you the excitement and the motivation to reach out to some customers and have a conversation with them about National Life products. My name's John Lovejoy. My email address is right here at jlovejoy@nationallife.com, but also I have a wonderful internal, John Slane, that's in our location in Vermont. And you can reach John at this direct number or also his email address. I'd like to go ahead and, for those of you that are new to the National Life Group story, I'd like to first of all start out by a little history of who the company is and what we're all about, and then dive into our featured presentation today. For those of you that are new to LSW, we are owned by National Life Group. National Life Group was formerly National Life of Vermont. And we were the third oldest mutual company in existence, and we've been around for 16 decades under one name, National Life. And we have been, as a mutual company, we're a small mutual company, but the important thing here is that we pay dividends every year since 1855. And if you think of over 150, 160-year period of time, there were times when perhaps we could use that money for something else, but we chose to pay dividends out to our insureds. And so that shows a commitment to our dividend history here. But we're one of the first companies to, actually was the first company to offer a living benefit back in 1937. And as we see more companies jumping into that space today, that's exciting. That's a whole new reason to go back and visit your in-force customers as well as new customers, because one of the things I like to ask people is, do you have the old kind or the new kind? And basically, the old kind is anything probably older than 2 years old. You ought to take a look and see how benefits have changed over the last few years. So it gives you a reason and a motivation to get out there and reach out to your customers and initiate a conversation. We're a top 10, 20 life company, but one of the things, as Bill mentioned, is we're on a real growth curve. The company itself has doubled in size over the last 6 years. And we're enjoying right now double-digit rates of return when the market is really experiencing some either flat sales or negative sales. We are in the double-digit category. And part of that is we've got a well-defined game plan, and I'll shed light on what that is today and how I think you can get it working for you. But just another note, we are the longest-standing issuer of indexed annuities in the business, and we're also the #1 company for indexed annuities in the teacher-educator market. So just a few other differentiators that are good to know if this is your first time hearing this story. When you take a look at the company and itself, you know, we last year paid out $1.9 billion in benefits to, we've got 800,000 insureds. But to the right, you're going to see three pieces of puzzles here. And this is really sort of a defining category for how we view our business model today. We basically have three legs on our stool, if you will. Our three core markets are the Middle America market, which we define as your working families, the teacher-educator market, and also the small business owners. And for each of those three groups, we built a story that has three pieces to the puzzle. The first is die too soon. The second is what happens when you become ill along life's journey. And the third is what happens if you're blessed with a long life. And a lot of people over 50 start worrying, have they got enough money to last as long as they do? So we've created a story centered around these three pieces of the puzzle. And incidentally, these three faces that you see here are actual live testimonies. You can go to YouTube and search under National Life, and you can actually hear three testimonies from these three clients, each with a powerful story to tell. Jessica's story is a young mom, came down with breast cancer and talked about the importance of how those living benefits took the financial pressure off their family during her diagnosis, so she was able to focus on getting well. The second is Havana Benita, and another incredible story. He had kidney cancer and was able to access his living benefits, and today is an agent and is selling incredible amounts of insurance as a new agent, but he's sharing his testimony, he's sharing his story. And then the third story here centers around a lady that was kind of getting heartburn from Wall Street and having to watch her market account balances changing all the time, and sometimes good, sometimes bad, but she was worried about running out of money and market volatility, and she was able to see the value of guaranteed income through one of our products. We're all about, as I mentioned, families and small business owners, and about the teacher-educator market. But when you ask them what's on their mind, typically saving for retirement is one of the three main concerns. Outliving their money is another concern. But what would happen at the death of a spouse? And so what we want to do is initiate a conversation centered around, first and foremost, life insurance. I don't apologize for the business I'm in. In fact, any of my friends and family know I take it very serious what I do for a living, and I actually have a hit list, if you will. I keep a running tally of friends and family, and I initiate a conversation around life insurance because, quite frankly, I don't want to have to attend a friend or family member's funeral and have their surviving spouse look me in the eye and say, you know, my husband died, didn't have life insurance, and you're in the business, why didn't you have a conversation with me? I mean, that gives me the motivation to reach out and take action to try to help those that are in my circle of influence and friends and family. When you look at our products, we have built products that have each of these features in our entire story, whether it's universal life, term life, or IUL, or even survivorship. We've built an inclusive story here centered around living benefits, and it's a powerful story that I think you'll see some unique things that will stand out as we go forward. But we offer a full menu of products. Term insurance. The thing that I'll mention to you about term is if you need to sell price, we're not your company, but for another 20%, 25%, we have a lot of key features like convertibility, like paying commissions on policy fees, and also the living benefit story that's in every term product that we offer, as well as universal life, whole life. We have a participating whole life. Kind of a side note right now, we're seeing a resurgence of whole life sales. So if you're looking for a good whole life product and one that's participating, you know, count us in. We've got a great story there. Index life, and that's our flagship space. And we do an outstanding job. We were one of the first 3 carriers in the IUL market back about 16, 17 years ago, and so we remain one of the market leaders in IUL. But also survivorship, and as I mentioned, each of these products are we have free riders that are included that are critical illness, critical injury, chronic illness, and terminal illness. But then we also have a unique rider called our life income benefit rider that basically will take cash value and turn it into a guaranteed income out to age 121, regardless of cash value balance. So one of the things, you know, if you use Universal Life as a supplemental retirement vehicle, there is a possibility that you could outlast your cash value. So for folks that are worried about that, for a slightly reduced benefit, we can guarantee an income all the way out to age 121. Again, this is part of Jessica's story. We won't go into the presentation there, but I would encourage you to go out to YouTube or go to our website at nationallife.com, and we have these videos, these testimonials that are out there on our public site. Once you're licensed as an agent, I encourage you today, if you like the presentation, talk to the staff and the team at Levinson and get licensed with us. And we'd love to have you on the team. But there are some powerful stories out there that will show the importance of what we do and how to get conversations started. Let's talk first about terminal illness, because we do differ from some of our competitors out there today. First of all, you'll notice with terminal illness, it's a 24-month definition. So with a doctor's note that you have a 24-month life expectancy, we will, or less, we will accelerate up to $1.5 million in benefits. There's no waiting period for this, and so you're able to take a discounted distribution to the death benefit, or you can take a partial distribution. So whatever we don't pay while you're alive, we will pay out in a death claim. Now, why that may be important is your customer may have some final needs planning that they're wanting to accomplish while they're alive, things like pay off the home, pay off student loans, maybe fund the children's educational plans, things that are near and dear to the parent, for example. So maybe the customer is covered for a couple $1 million policy, but they need $500,000 in order to solve these needs while they're alive. So we will advance part of the death benefit, and whatever we don't advance, we'll pay out in the form of the death benefit. So this gives tremendous security and peace of mind during a very difficult period in a person's life. And again, you don't have to take it all, but we will go up to $1.5 million. Now, what does come up from time to time is we will, since we do a lot of individual need planning as well as business planning, if you happen to buy a $2 million policy for personal needs and a $1 million policy for buy-sell needs, we combine the balances to $1.5 million, and that goes for all of our living benefits. So there is a cap on that regardless of how many policies that you have. Chronic illness is a big piece of our conversation today, and I think we would all agree that everyone should have some type of long-term care, but sadly, a lot of people get sticker shock when they get a quote and see how expensive it is. So the next best thing is look at a rider on a life policy, because what we'll do is to provide benefits for about 4.5 years so that you can have time to transition. And so it's not a perfect solution, but it gives you access to benefits while you're alive. And then the normal triggers, either 2 activities of daily living or a cognitive impairment. So what we will do is advance up to 2% of the death benefit per month, up to a maximum of $30,000 per month. And again, the cool thing about this, if there is a cool thing to chronic illness, is that the money is yours to use as you see fit. So you can use this as income replacement. You can use it to offset medical expenses. You can use it as a small business owner to keep your business going. But the key thing is that you've got money that gives you choices in how you utilize the benefits. There is it's a 2% payout and up to 24% per year. The rider has a one-time 2-year waiting period. So this is, again, this rider is available on term, whole life, universal, as well as IUL, but it's also available on survivorship after the death of the first insured. You can ask for these living benefits to be on the survivorship policy. But after this one-time 2-year waiting period, then you are able to access benefits once you go through a 90-day waiting period, consecutive waiting period after that. Funds are available to use at your policyholder's discretion. As I mentioned, we will pay out up to $1.5 million in benefits. Now, the big thing here is we'll pay up to $1.5 million in benefits. Some companies, the way they have their riders written, it's death portion of death benefits, and we're actually benefits paid. So pay attention to that, because that can make a big difference. Critical illness, these are, in the past, we used to refer to these as dread disease riders type things, but you'll see here 7 of the most common ones. And so with critical illness, you're able to basically accelerate a payout. And what typically happens is once you have a qualifying condition, then your doctor will file a report to the company, and the team at the home office will provide a severity level of minor, moderate, severe, or life-threatening. And basically, the more severe it is, the higher the offer. So the more money that would be made available for benefits. So this is how the process would start. There's a fee to basically get the process rolling, a couple $100 fee, but after that it's just having your physician notify us in writing, and we'll initiate a claim. So a lot of carriers have these. These are pretty much the common ones, but last year we added 6 new critical illness benefits for the graft surgery, the aplastic anemia, cystic fibrosis, heart valve replacement, motor neuron disease, and sudden cardiac arrest. So this takes us now from 7 up to 13 triggers. But it gets better than that, because we were the first company to come out with critical injury benefits. So we added another 4 triggers that include coma, paralysis, severe burns, and traumatic brain injury. I actually did a presentation on Tuesday with a group in Louisville, and they had some strong ties to the fire department. And so they saw this as a marketing opportunity because obviously they have a occupational exposure there to severe burns. So there's no occupational exclusions. So this could create a conversation, help you get a conversation started around certain professions like police and fire. But also I had another agent up in the Chicago area that was in a cyclist club, motorbike. And, you know, a lot of these guys ride with no helmets, and they're worried about brain injuries. Well, that's not an exclusion. So, you know, you ought to have a conversation because if something happened, you wouldn't, you know, you'd be better off having some benefits available. So that takes us up to 17 triggers as opposed to the industry somewhere around 7 to 10 on average. But we will make these benefits available, and we'll provide you with a maximum qualifying payout amount, and then you can take up to that maximum or a portion of that. With the critical illness and critical injury, our maximum is $1 million. So for terminal illness and chronic illness, it's $1.5 million in benefits paid, and on critical illness and critical injury, it's $1 million. Now, one of the nice things that, if you haven't seen our illustrations, one of the things that I get a lot of positive feedback on is our illustrations are very user-friendly, agent-friendly. And you'll notice on every illustration, you'll get a summary page of how these living benefits could apply to your particular customer, and it really helps you position the conversation so that your customer can understand how they work. And now, where you see these different ages under chronic illness, for example, there are certain default ages in the system, and you can change those. You can override those as you see fit. And as I mentioned, you have a situation here where you can accelerate a portion, or you can take up to a maximum benefit. So let's take a look at an example where a customer has a $100,000 policy, and they've been using it for a cash accumulation vehicle, and now they want to file a claim. And so if they accelerate 100% of the benefit, you'll see in this particular example we're offering $82,641. For their payout. And so basically what happens is the customer agrees to that, then they get the check for $82,000 and the $100,000 goes away. Well, sometimes people say, well, what happens to the remaining portion? Well, that's all the discounting that's involved in how these numbers are arrived at. $1 today is worth a lot more than $1 20 years from now. So the more severe the level is, then that would impact the person's longevity, and that would mean a higher payout. But perhaps somebody had a heart attack and it was a mild heart attack, their offer might be less. In an example of a partial payout, in this case, the client only wants to accelerate 50% of the benefit. You'll see here that also the remaining cash value is discounted by 50%. So the key thing to remember is these benefits are available, and at the time of claim, you take a look at what your options are and you see what makes sense for your customer. But the important thing is being able to have these benefits available, because we know the cost of getting sick is expensive, and people miss time from work. There are a lot of things that are not covered by their insurance, and so having the access to these benefits takes a lot of the financial pressure off so that the customer can focus on getting well and not have to worry about money. As I mentioned, living benefits are in each of our term products. I recently had a case in Fort Wayne where we had a person coming out of med school. They needed $1 million of death benefit and only had a $100 budget. But they had a couple of children, and but they had recently bought a home. So we were able to put a combo package together for this customer, gave them $1 million of 10-year term. We explained how the living benefits work and the conversion privilege, how that worked. We put the children's rider on, but then we also threw in $2,000 a month of disability income. So for the first 2 years, we're able to provide an income to keep their house payment made. And so on some of our products, you can offer a DI, either two-year payout or a 5-year payout, up to $2,000 a month. So that's kind of cool. And that even exists on our IUL and our whole life as well as term. I'm going to fast forward to this screen here. I'd like to kind of look at now at some of our key differentiators with our Flex Life. Our flagship product is called Flex Life. It's a market-leading indexed universal life. But when we talk to customers and ask them what do they want, basically what customers are looking for is they're looking for upside potential and downside protection. They're looking to squeeze more interest rates without increasing their exposure. And having spent many years on the variable side, we find that also a lot of times customers don't like giving it back when there are market corrections. So with IUL, for those of you that are new to IUL, it's a contemporary way to basically take a universal life product and find a way to get 1 or 2.5% better return than you're getting in a traditional universal life. And so the good thing is you've got a ceiling in exchange for a floor, and you have the benefit of getting a better return with time on your money. And then you want to have options to access that money for things like supplemental income for down the road. Age 65, there are a lot of folks that are looking for additional income today, and so turning that cash value into an income stream is important. But then also the living benefits. And I did a presentation recently for a group, and statistically, if you had a group of 135-year-olds in a room, 6 of them won't make it to retirement. They're going to die before age 65. But 34 of them will become disabled for a period of 90 days to 5 years, and 24% of them will have a chronic illness. And so when you look at that, what we're able to do is to provide customers with a way in order to access benefits while they're alive, and then also take care of another thing that's on their mind, and that is accumulating more money for retirement. So we offer the full range of indexed options, but one of the things that I like to stress today, now if you look at the inflows industry-wide, most of the inflows of cash premiums go into the first bucket, the 1-year point-to-point bucket. Our current cap is 12%. And so that is by far still the hands-down favorite, not just with National Life, but with all carriers. But I really like to educate people on this second option, because if we are sitting down with a customer and we're talking to them about setting up a life insurance plan for supplemental income purposes, one of the things that we have to arrive at is a growth rate. And when you ask customers, what interest rate are you comfortable using for the next 20 to 30 years to accumulate your money at? Well, a lot of times people say, well, if you ask them, how do you feel about 8% or 7% or 6%? A lot of people have really scaled it back. They're not really comfortable with 8 or 7. And in all of my planning, if you ask me for an illustration, you'll notice that I always quote 6%. Our current illustrated rate is 6.91%, but I like to dial it down to build in a little hedge against future change, because I want the numbers to work at 6%. Well, if you look at the second option right here, the S&P 500 point-to-point participation rate, the way I can get this is a different way in order to get to my 6% rate. Whatever the interest, whatever the growth is in the index, at the end of the year, we take that number and we multiply it by 140%. Now, what does that mean? So let's say that the customer does, or the S&P does 4%. We will take that 4% and multiply it by 140%, and that's what they'd actually earn in this account. Now, the reason I like to use this account is all we have to do, if I use 6% as my growth number to make the income needs work, 6% is the magic number. All we have to do in this account is 4 1/4, because we multiply that by 140%, and that gets us to our 6. And what this has done over time is to provide a lot more integrity in illustrations and in planning as we go forward, because almost everybody agrees that somewhere around 4 or 5% is a much more realistic, conservative, if you will, approach. Anything that does over and above that, you're just going to end up with more money. So I'd encourage you to take a look at this participation rate focus strategy. The current payout is 140%, but the guarantee is 110%. So it's cool. It's different, and it's a way in order to arrive at a more believable illustration. And then we also have a fixed term strategy as well. And You know, if you can even put all your money in a fixed strategy, and then you end up with what looks like universal life. So the cool thing is, you know, you've got all these strategies that you can help a customer find a good fit. Now let's talk about the 0%. We talked about this 0% floor. We've got a 2.5% guarantee, but we only factor that at death or surrender of the policy. And in our basic and fixed accounts, there are also a 2.5% guarantee. Now, many people today are using life insurance as a tax-free retirement strategy, supplemental income, and this is one that I have an actual presentation centered around people that are considering IRAs, either traditional or Roth IRAs. And for those of you that know how IRAs work, you know, which way do you think taxes are going to go? Because that determines whether you should have a traditional IRA or a Roth. But most of the time today, people are seeing that a Roth makes more sense. And the reason is they're buying it with after-tax money so that the harvest becomes free. And so what they end up with is a place to grow tax-deferred and get the tax-free income. But what happens in a Roth IRA in the event that you die prematurely, or in the event that you end up disabled, or in the event you have a chronic illness or a terminal illness? There are no benefits included in a Roth. And so when you look at the universal life as a way to accumulate money, it can give you the same tax-deferred growth and tax-free income, but we will provide an immediate death benefit as well as disability income, where we will put the $5,000 or the $5,500 in on behalf of the customer, and then we will make terminal illness, chronic illness, critical illness, as well as critical injury benefits available. And then we'll give the customer the choice of having guaranteed income all the way out to age 121 when it's time to switch from the premium phase to the distribution phase. This rider that we have, called the LIBOR rider, is a deal maker, because people will take a little bit less for the guarantee that they will have an income that they cannot outlive. And please, reach out to me anytime. We'll have a deeper dive into that at some point in the future. But there's never been a better time to tell the cash value story. And so I would encourage you to look at universal life with living benefits as a conversation starter. We've got the general mix of loans, the way you can access either through fixed loans or zero net cost loans or variable loans. And the good thing is you don't decide that until it's time to take a distribution. But the LIBOR, I want to go back to the LIBOR. That stands for Life Income Benefit Rider. For those of you that are familiar with the GLIR riders and annuities, it works very similar. Basically, we provide a tax-free death benefit at death. We have an income that's guaranteed to last as long as you live, and the policy is guaranteed to stay in force. There's no annual paperwork. You know, without this rider, many agents aren't aware that, you know, if you're going to show a distribution through a universal life or index universal life, there's paperwork that has to be done every year. You have to go back and refile and ask for the money. But with the LIBOR benefit, it's automatic. You only do the paperwork one time, and then you basically can just look forward to running to the mailbox every month or every year to get your check. There's no need to go back and redo that paperwork each and every year. When you activate the benefit, everything, there's no more premium that goes in, and we guarantee a death benefit when the person dies. So and we also utilize fixed loans as part of the distribution setup here. But the good thing is that it gives your customers the ability to sleep at night because they know that they have an income that they can't outlive. So perhaps they are 65 and they've received 5 years of benefits and they die at age 70. Whatever we didn't pay out in benefits, then we'll pay in a higher death benefit. But at least as long as they're alive, they're guaranteed to receive an income all the way out to age 121. And this is a huge piece. I mean, this really put us on the map in the accumulation space. And because when you take the living benefits story and combine it with the guaranteed income for life, that's a way that we really differentiate ourselves. We illustrate extremely well. So when you throw in these other benefits, this is really something that will help you in your presentation with the National Life LSW product. Just a reminder, we have no fluids underwriting on the first $250,000 of death benefit. and we'll do a mini exam, which is basically step on a scale and get draw blood up to 500,000. And if you will use our e-app, then the e-app is the way to really fast track your business. We take it up from an average of 20 days to an average of 4 days. So basically what you do as a licensed agent with National Life, you get, once you're licensed, then we invite you to go to our website and register. And when you register, up in the top right-hand corner, you can set up a profile. And that profile will give us the ability to start sending you text alerts on where your business is in motion, so that you'll know when the case hits, when there's a movement in the case, or when the case perhaps is paid a commission. You'll receive text notifications on your smart device, so you know every step along the way. But the other advantage is that when you run your illustration from our National Life site, then you can immediately proceed to e-app, and that's how you can fast track the underwriting process. Our mobile app we rolled out in October, and so again, it sends you a series of business alerts, so you see where your business is in motion, and so it takes a lot of the guesswork out of the process. But also, you're able to access training and webinars and different things that are going on at the company level. So we've got somewhere around 6,000 or 7,000 agents already enrolled into this mobile app, available on your iPhones or your Androids, and it's a free. You just go out to the iTunes store and download it. And this is where you would go in and put in your mobile number and basically put a check in where what boxes you'd like to receive text alerts. So this is a way for you to see your business process in a more timely manner and keep you better informed along the way. There's another piece that's on our website called our Top 12, which is kind of a algorithm of our where agents are pulling marketing pieces, and we change these on a regular basis by life, by annuity, by sales strategies, and we even have a great selection of multicultural materials. So if it's not here, then you just type in under the search what you're looking for. But this Top 12 gives you a real-time look at where most of the traffic is going on our website. So now I'd like to conclude my program with a presentation that I made to Bill and Carrie and Joe when I was with them a few weeks ago. And one of the things that I like to ask people is, does your financial plan have a reserve parachute? Sometimes if you're going to jump out of a plane, I've never done it. I'd like to think it was a big smiley face, but knowing sometimes Murphy's Law steps in, what's your backup plan? And, a lot of people, they might have a plan, but they don't have a well-defined backup plan if life happens. And so one of the things that I like to do is to make sure that people have access to this backup plan through the Living Benefits story. This piece here, excuse me here, get out of rhythm here. Just a couple of riders I'd like to bring to your attention. We have a balance sheet rider that you can use that basically will tell us what percentage of the surrender charge you would waive during the first 10 years of the policy. So when you're in a situation where you need high early cash value, we have a rider that you can use for personal as well as business. As I mentioned, we also have the waiver of a specified monthly premium or waiver of monthly deductions, but also over loan protection. And the next rider is the life income benefit rider. But I'd encourage you to get familiar with these because it really helps you build a powerful illustration story. This is our new website, our new portal as an agent. And so if you haven't seen it yet, once you're licensed with us, it's so much easier to find where your business is. There's just a wealth of information out here to help you, whether training or seeing what your commission statements are looking like before you're paid. It's a very, very agent-friendly system. I'd like to conclude today with this perfect employee story, and the way I like to position this is, how do we get in front of more small business owners to write those higher ticket charges? Wouldn't it be nice if our average size premium case, if we could get it to around $15,000 a year? Well, if we go out and we say, well, Mr. Prospect, Mrs. Prospect, we have this this latest and greatest IUL product from XYZ company, and it's, it's the hottest thing in the business today. Can I sit down with you over coffee and explain to you how it works? And oh, by the way, it costs $15,000. Your customer's going to look at you and say, thanks, but no thanks. So let me position this a different way to you. Bill, I'll use you as an example since you're a business owner. Bill, my name is John Lovejoy, and I'm in the area today servicing some of my business accounts, and I noticed on your shingle today that you manufacture or you distribute financial service products, life and annuity products. Well, Bill, I know someone that I think you ought to have a conversation with. They're a hard worker, they're a team player, they're skilled, loyal, honest. They're creative, they're problem solving, they're action oriented. And if I introduce you, Bill, to this employee who's looking for a job, they're ready to start work tomorrow, but the good thing is if I introduce you to them, Bill, they don't require health benefits. They're not going to ask for a retirement plan. They don't need sick days or vacation days, and you don't have to worry about unemployment or workers' compensation on these employees. And if you knew after you hired this employee that they were going to increase your income by an additional $50,000 to $75,000 a year of tax-free income, Bill, what would you be willing to pay an employee that could bring that kind of result to you as a business owner? Well, and then if you pause and ask the customer, a lot of them will say $15, $20, $50 an hour. What if I could introduce you to an employee that was willing to go to work for a minimum wage? Would you like to have a conversation with this person? Basically what it does is gets the conversation going around a $15,000 premium. Who's the person? I'm the person. You're the person. We're not going to show up every day at work because what we're going to do is be behind the scenes, putting this plan together and managing it every step along the way so that when it's time to turn off the premium spigot and turn on the income spigot, we've been able to provide a guaranteed income for life. And the great thing about this story, I used this in a presentation this morning in Nashville, and everybody that you pitch this to says, when do they want to start? Well, when we have this conversation, it doesn't require an illustration. I like to call this a cocktail napkin story because you can make your presentation in about 3 to 5 minutes, and then you can go back with your illustration and talk to them about how you're going to build this perfect plan for them. In these programs, I include what we call waiver of specified premium, so that we would put the full $15,000 in on behalf of the customer, but it includes terminal, chronic, critical illness, critical injury, overloan protection, and guaranteed income for life. So typically when you have this conversation with a small business owner, and I would encourage you, take this out and run with it. Have coffee with somebody in the morning and ask them, tell them the story. You know someone they should have a conversation with. They're looking for work, they're ready to start tomorrow, and basically if you hire this person, they're going to increase your retirement by $50,000 to $75,000 a year. Can your business afford one more employee at minimum wage? I promise you, you will get positive response. You'll have a chance to initiate more conversations and start selling more premiums at the $15,000 level. I've got agents that are selling this today at $12 an hour, $20 an hour. The $7.25 an hour, you can change that to any number that you're comfortable with. But every employer will tell you quickly if they can afford one more employee at minimum wage. And most employers will say, when do they want to start? So with that, I'll conclude my portion of the program here today, turn it back over to Joe and Bill, and I appreciate the opportunity to share the National Life story today.
Thank you, John. Great job. I know I enjoyed that, and I wrote down some notes for myself. Like I said, we'll send out an email to everybody this afternoon, and we'll include everything that we went over today on our end and then, of course, on John's side. So we'll end with this. I know we're almost at 3 o'clock Eastern time here. Let's all put our right foot forward, take the extra step, get your arms wrapped around these IUL products.